Hey everyone, I wanted to make a quick video on this loading screen trick that I've been experimenting with. In more recent versions of Minecraft, they've added in this loading screen animation to kind of give the player something to look at while the world is generating. In general, the different colors of pixels here do correspond to different aspects the game is generating, but they're kind of abstract and grouped weird, so they don't in general give you too much information. The one thing I want to focus on is the loading screen can actually hint at which direction you should travel when you spawn in a world. You see on this graphic, the spawn box around the origin is fairly large, and we always want to be traveling toward the stronghold ring to give us the best odds of finding a stronghold. This is especially true in 1.14, but also in 1.16. Sometimes you run into the stronghold first, so we always want to be traveling away from the origin. So one way you can do this when you get into the world is you open up your F3 and you can see how far you are in the X and the Z. So because I have a fairly high X, I in general want to travel towards the positive X direction. And you can see which direction you're facing here. So positive Z, so I would change my direction so I'm oriented positive X and maybe slightly negative Z. So this is the direction away from the origin. But there's a little trick that you can use from the loading screen that actually tells you this direction before you even spawn in. So this is a trick that the almighty Matthew Boland told me about, but essentially when you start a world, it is going to generate with a little blip on the loading screen. And that little blip is going to tell you kind of where the origin is. So in this case, the little blip appeared in this upper left before it's centered. And so that's kind of hinting at where the origin is. And I'm generating my spawn chunks away from that. So if the little blip is in the upper left, essentially I need to go the opposite direction because I need to go away from the origin. So this time it was in the upper left, so that means I need to go back right away from the origin. So we always spawn in facing south. And you can see here that we're fairly negative, pretty far from the origin. And so if we do this trick, negative X, negative Z, that in fact is away from the origin. And I'll do it one more time here just as an example, but the technique I like to use is as soon as I create a world, I look for this little blip. I put my mouse cursor over it and just keep it there, and I just know that I need to travel the opposite direction. So this one's going to be front and to the left when I spawn in. And we'll just double check with the directions once I spawn. So yeah, we're facing in positive Z and positive X. We're pretty far out, so we're already a substantial away from the origin, but I would travel obviously to this village and probably go that way. So some ideas with using this: obviously you want to do a quick look around when you spawn. You don't always just immediately want to go in that direction. And the other thing is, if the loading screen initially generates a blip and then it generates kind of in a couple different positions, like it's kind of hectic and chaotic, that probably means that it tried to spawn you in somewhere where it couldn't, like an ocean or something. And so your spawn point may not be obvious away from that initial origin blip. So you may have to open F3 and reevaluate. But yeah, hope that helps.